We're back out here once again, and today I'm giving up my biggest secret for wintertime bass fishing. It's easy to do, it costs nothing, and best of all, those bass will never get accustomed to it. What is it? Well, stick around. We're going to talk all about it.
No, I got him. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a big one. Oh my goodness, that's a big fish. That's a big fish, honey. Holy cow, that is a really big fish. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, there we go.
And here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And for the past couple of videos, I've been talking about what a bonanza fishing around the boat ramp can be during the winter months. That concrete slab heats up and it radiates that warmth into the water, which of course attracts all different sorts of fish species, not just bass, but the prey they feed on. Also, if it's like the big lake, around that boat ramp is dredged out so it's deep enough for the boats to get in and out, which provides deep water access. So whenever there is a change in conditions or something spooks those bass, they have a convenient place they can slip down to feel comfortable. But the problem is, whenever you have an area that, especially on a pressured body of water, when it gets active, everybody knows about it and they know about it quick. Same thing happened at the big lake. I was not the only one who knew about, well, the activity around the main boat ramp. A lot of it because, well, it's the main boat ramp, right? People are putting their boats in all the time and they see the splashing. A lot of guys, they don't know what it is and they keep on heading out. We've seen that when I showed it to you in a previous video, but a lot of guys, they do know what it is and they don't even bother to trim their motor down. They just get up on their deck, drop their trolling motor, and they begin fishing around. So what happens? Well, those bass, they get wise to what everybody's throwing. And the two biggest things that I've seen everyone throwing are, number one, a hard jerkbait. In the wintertime, that's going to be fairly common. That's going to be what a lot of guys are throwing. And number two, an Alabama rig. Again, that's another common presentation for the winter months. But it's curious because I was talking to a guy at the boat ramp after the wife and I had gotten off of the water, and he was telling me that on his forward-facing sonar, he was watching those bass. When he would throw that A-rig out there and he would bring it back, they would come up and then they would jerk away from it. They would run away from it. They knew what it was and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. He was frustrated because he said the day prior he was able to catch 20 bass on that A-rig, and today they wouldn't have anything to do with it. Now, the reason being is, and we know why, is because those bass get wise to what you're doing and they start to focus on that prey species. They start to focus on exactly what it is they're chasing. Anything else that does not look like what they're after, they tend to ignore. Now, I went from a jerkbait and an A-rig to a weightless fluke or soft plastic jerkbait like this guy right here. And this is just a cream, but I've also been using a Zoom Super Fluke as well as a caffeine shad. But this guy right here in the smoke shad color, I've tore them up on this the past few times whenever I went out. And there's a reason why something like this takes longer for those bass to get adjusted to. It doesn't have any rattles. It looks a lot more natural in the water. So especially if I can throw it around those schools of bait fish they're chasing, it kind of mixes it in and it looks like it's a dying fish, makes it easier to pick out. But the last time, well, I wanted to adjust, and that's the name of the game. That's going to be the secret that I want to convey to you. It is so crucial that we need to change things up, especially when things are working, because those bass are going to get wise. That bait, that bite is going to dry up a lot more quickly than you think it will. So just a subtle change. I went from that smoke shad to this. This is a green pumpkin soft plastic jerkbait. I tied this on right in that same spot I've been fishing, and right off the bat, I caught 2 nice bass on back-to-back casts.
On stuff with my thingamawhatsits. I got a green pumpkin fluke, a little bit different color. We're just gonna, just explore and see what all they go after. But they're definitely still here, and they get wiser to things than you think they do, which is why I switched from a jerkbait to a fluke. Especially you get everybody coming through here fishing jerkbaits or well, I don't think anybody threw. Oh, I got him. Not as big as yours. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Yeah, it's a little bigger.
Look at how he inhaled that.
Yep.
But it's hard because everybody knows that this is here. Yeah, he's, I don't know, pound and a half. That's a good fish. Good first fish on that green fluke. Appreciate it, buddy. Oh, there he goes. All right, let's go see if we can catch some more. And if you don't get anything soon, I'm going to change you out. But they're going to be between us and the bank. And the water still seems to be pretty clear. Got him. Well, that's 2 casts, 2 fish. This one's not quite as big. Come on, you. Where you at? There we go. There we go. He's still over a pound. About 1.25 pounds. Pretty little fish. Pretty little fish. Thank you, buddy. There he goes.
So that really helped me out. Just that little color change ended up in a couple of quick bass, and the day was rolling from there. But that's not everything that I did. I tried to think of things that those bass might be interested in. Match the hatch, right? But I also want to keep it to where things that other guys aren't throwing. And along those lines, something really stood out to me. So I tied this guy on. Little cotton cordell minnow, right? This is a little jerk minnow. They sell these in Walmart. They're super cheap and they work. It's a hard float, but it gets down with that bill. It actually gets down pretty deep. So I can work this about 3 or 4 feet down, depending on the line that I'm using and the setup that I'm using. And I can work this through there, and it resembles a lot of what those bass are chasing. The crazy thing about it is, while it did catch a fish, actually it caught several fish for me, the biggest thing that it caught was, well, check this out.
Really rushing by that way. Ooh, I got him. Oh, no, look. That's a shad.
That's a shad?
That is a shad.
That's a mean little thing.
This
is what they're going after.
Yep.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's a gizzard shad. I didn't know they had gizzard shad in here. I thought all we had was threadfin, but that is a gizzard shad.
All right.
The threadfin are smaller and they have a narrower body. At least I believe that. Oops. That looks like a gizzard shad. I haven't snagged one of those with a jerkbait in a minute, but that's what we were looking at. That's what we were seeing. There you go, little dude. He's going to be okay. Oh, till he just got eat.
So it caught a gizzard shad. I got to see with my own eyes. I mean, I could see it swimming around in the water, but to hold it in my hand and get a good look at what those bass are fishing at. And it was a surprise not only to me, but to other anglers of the big lake I showed that gizzard shad to in the video, because the big lake, nobody's ever seen gizzard shad in it before. So we all suspect that they've been stocked. They had to have been stocked because in 40 years of fishing that lake, all I've ever seen are the smaller threadfin shad. And that bigger, fatter gizzard shad was a real surprise. You know, at first I thought it was a shiner because there are plenty of shiner in the big lake. But when I hooked into it and brought it into the boat, kind of weird feeling. You know, we've all hooked into a shad, right? If you fish a jerkbait in the wintertime through a bait cloud, you're going to hook into some shad. We've all done it. I've never hooked into a gizzard shad like that before, so that was pretty crazy. I wanted to keep things changed up again. I wanted to keep those bass on their toes. So I went one step further and I changed to this guy right here. I've talked about this in a recent video. You already know what it is. It is a Rebel minnow. And I've got this on a spinning setup. This is my new spinning setup. My lovely wife got me this for Christmas. And I have to say, this is the best spinning outfit I've ever had. It's my new Abu Garcia Revo. This is an amazing spinning reel. They're not cheap. They're going to run probably about $130. And I've got a new 7-foot medium Abu Garcia Vendetta reel. Now, this is not the most expensive. You can get these about $90 to $100. But still, this is going to run you with tax and everything probably close to $200, $250 for that combo. It's worth it. That's easily the best spinning combo I've ever had. It casts like butter. It reels like butter. And definitely the drag on it is great. It does not have a backwind system, so I know that's going to be bad for a lot of anglers, especially the old school ones. You know, I learned how to backwind. That's what we did, is that back cranking, that backwinding back in the day. But several years ago, my hand was kind of wet and slimy from catching fish. The handle popped out of my hand, and I got cracked right here and right here when that handle popped back around trying to reel in a big fish. I broke those bones, and I said, you know what? I'm just doing the drag from now on. And the drag on that reel, that's not a mistake. It's great drag. However, getting back to that bait, that little Rebel minnow, it was on from there. So during the day, I changed things up. I started with this guy, caught some fish real quick, and then I changed to this. And you see, I'm kind of going in that same theme. They're not the same baits, not even remotely, but they are smaller. They get right in those bait clouds. They can attract the attention of those fish by mimicking what those fish are already feeding on. An A-rig, while it's a great presentation, basically makes its own school. If I'm already using those schools of bait to help me out, because I can see them busting everywhere. And it was like that all day, even after I took the boat out of the water, they were still busting everywhere. The last thing that I did was I made a small adjustment to that Rebel minnow, and that is I put a small split shot on that front hook. Now, I didn't just put it on there and then throw it in the water. I actually went through a couple of different sizes, testing them to see which one was the right one. And that size right there gave me the action that I needed. It was almost a perfect suspend. You may have to play around with it a little bit, but it gave me exactly what I wanted, so I could slow that bait down even more. And when I did, well, this was the result.
No, I got him. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a big one. Oh my goodness, that's a big fish. That's a big fish, honey. Holy cow, that is a really big fish. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a good fish. Look at that fish. Yep, that's what we needed to do. That's a 3-pound bass right there, baby. That is a 3-pound bass, and that little Rebel minnow and my that Rebel minnow doing work. That's close to 3 pounds, between 2 3/4 and 3 pounds. Beautiful bass, beautiful, gorgeous bass. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have a good day. And there he goes. We're good.
So that little Rebel minnow caught the biggest bass of the day. In fact, it was the biggest bass of the past few days that I've been. Gorgeous fish. So what I was doing was really keying those bass off. They were honing in on those different types of baits. And the next time I go out, I promise you, those bass are going to be in the same exact area. And they're probably going to be just as active, but they're going to be even more tuned out because more guys have been fishing them and they've been throwing A-rigs and jerk baits. As a matter of fact, the video that I did, the first one about the boat ramp and that younger gentleman who was there, actually his buddy found me on the water and said, hey, you were the guy who helped my friend and told him about the jerkbait. And those two together, they said they caught a bunch of fish on them. But obviously the jerkbait bite has been off ever since, and they've completely given up fishing in that area. I'm not willing to do that. So instead, I'm changing what I do. And I'm telling you, it pays dividends. Next time I go, I might go more committed to topwater. I might go to a floating worm, something like that, or a frog even, or a popper, or something of that nature, something subtle, something on the top that I can use to imitate possibly one of those dying shad that have floated up to the surface. Who knows? But that's the key to the success. No matter what happens, always be willing to change out what you have, because those bass are going to get wise to what you have, and they're going to do it sooner rather than later. And you need to be prepared for that, because once that bite shuts off, those bass didn't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, you'll probably still see them busting up, but they've moved on from what you're throwing. So you've got to make sure you keep things fresh and change things up. When you do that, you will absolutely catch way more fish. So there you have it, a super simple method to keep those big bites coming, not just all winter long, but it works all year long. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you're fishing hard water right now. It doesn't matter if you're fishing the freezing cold. Pre-spawn is coming, and this is definitely a technique you want to have in your back pocket. It will most certainly help you catch way more fish than you ever thought you could. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.